This conference will now be recorded.
Fine. Let us start the session. Let me go and open one notepad. Now in today's session, in today's class, we are going to discuss about the variables in Power Automate. Guys. So there is one concept called variables. So we'll discuss about what is this variables in Power Automate. So let me keep here today's topic name as variables. Now try to understand what is the use of this variables. Guys. I think most of you people know that already we discussed about these variables in Power Apps, and also if you take any programming language, you have this variables concept. So first of all, let me keep here what is meant by variables, what the variables can do, and then later we'll discuss about how to use these variables in the Power Automate. So first of all, let me go and keep here what is this variables. So try to understand, guys. Basically, variables are used for what? Let us say I'm declaring one variable here. The variable name is A. Now, what is the use of this variable is? Basically, the variables are used to store some data. When to go and create the variables means whenever if you want to store some data at one place temporarily, whenever if you want to store the data, some data in one in what at one place temporarily, not permanently, temporarily, then in this case you can go and use the variables. So first of all, let me keep here what is meant by variables, guys. What the variables will do? Variables are used to variables are used to store the data or the values. What is the use of this variables? Or variables means variables are used to store the data or the values. Now, how many variables or how many values a variable can hold? As we know that if you are declaring one one variable, how many values the variables can hold means the variable can hold only one value. Let me keep that point here. How many values the variables can hold means let me keep that variables can hold. Variables can hold. That means store. Variables can hold only one value. Now, what values it can store, guys? I'm telling that variables can hold only one value. That value may be what values the variables can hold. Variables can hold only one value. That value may be either it can store the integer data type values. That value may be a integer data type value, or it may be a float value, float data type values, or it can store the boolean values, or it can store the string values, comma, array values, array data type values, comma, object, object data type values. So what type of values the variables can hold? As I said that the variables can hold only one value. What values? That value may be either that value may be either it is a either it is an integer values. It can store the float values. Float means decimals. It can store the boolean values. Boolean means true or false values. It can store the string values. It can store the array, or it can store the object data type values. So these data type values the variables can hold in Power Automate. And now we know that what is meant by variables. Variables are used to store the data or the values. What type of values the variable can hold means these data type values the variables can hold. And how many values a variable can hold means a variable can hold only one value at a time. And next, when the variables or when the variables are going to be activated, so or where the variables are going to be stored, guys. As we know that variables, where the variables are going to be stored means variables are stored in the RAM. Variables are stored in the RAM temporarily. where the variables are going to be stored means variables are stored in the RAM temporarily at the runtime of the flow case. At the runtime of the flow, whenever if you are running the flows, whenever if you run the flow, at that time the variables will store where? In the RAM. That to what? Temporarily. So don't think that if you are declaring one variable, if you are creating a variable, the variable can be holding a value in throughout the flow. No. When the variables are going to be activated, or when the variables will be activated means the variables will be activated at the runtime of the flow only, guys. At the runtime, whenever you are running the flow, at that time only the variables will activate. And at the runtime of the flow, where the variables are going to be stored means variables are going to be stored in the RAM. So easy to understand. Try to understand what is meant by variables, what type of values the variables can hold, and when the variables are going to be activated. Variables are going to be, or where the variables are stored. First of all, variables are stored in the RAM at the runtime. And also when the variables will be activated means variables will be activated at the time of runtime, guys. At the time of running the flow, at the time of running the flow, the variables will activate. And where these variables are going to be stored means these are going to be stored in the RAM. So this is about what is meant by variables in simple words. I think many of you people know that what is meant by variables, when to use it, and how to go and use the variables. And next thing is there are different types of variables in Power Automate, guys. Let me keep here types of variables. There are different types of variables in Power Automate. What are the different types of variables are available in the Power Automate is the first one is initialize the variable. Initialize initialize the variable. This is one type. Next one is set variable. Next one is what? Set variable. And next one is what? Increment variable. Increment variables. Increment variable. Next one is what? Fourth one is decrement variable. Decrement variable. Fourth one is append to a string. Append to a string variable. And finally the fifth one is append to an array. Append to an array variable. Append to an array variable. These are the different types of variables we are having, guys. You'll understand what is the functionality of these different types of variables. First of all, try to understand what is meant by variables, when to use it, and where the variables are going to be stored, and when the variables will be activated. And next one is types of variables. There are totally how many types of variables? 5 types of variables are there in the Power Automate. The first one is what? Initialize the variable. Second one is what? Set the variable. Third one is what? Increment variable, decrement variables, append to a string variable, append to an array variable. So first of all, let me go and open the Power Automate and let me show you what are the different types of variables we are having and how to go and work with these different types of variables, guys. So first one is initializing the variable. Initializing the variables means this is used to create a variable, guys, or this is used to declare a variable. Whenever if you want to declare a variable, let's say I'm declaring one variable, the variable name is A. Now by using which variable type you can go and declare the variables means initializing the variable. And once after declaring the variable, I need to go and assign one value to this variable. By using which keyword or which variables you can go and assign the values to the variables means to assign the values you need to go and use the set variable. So this initialize the variable is used to create the variable. Set variable is used to assign the value to that variable. So let me go and open the Power Automate and let me show you how to go and work with this types of variables, guys. Let me go to the Power Automate. Make dot powerautomate.com. Let me go and open the Power Automate. me sign in. Let it open. Fine. Let me close the Power Apps. Now try to understand, guys. Let me go and discuss about how to go and work with the variables. So in order to go and work with the variables, first of all, where we need to go and create the variables means we'll go and create the variables within the flows only. Where we'll create the variables means while we are creating the flows, at the time only you need to go and declare the variables. So let me go and create one flow here. So what type of flow I'm going to select here is instant cloud flows. So select the instant cloud flow. Let me pass the name as variables, flow name as variables. Next, select the manually trigger a flow. Select it, click on create. Let me switch to the old designer. Now see here, first of all, this is the manually trigger a flow. Now I need to go and declare some variables here, guys. So let me go and declare one variable. In order to go and declare the variables, you need to go and click on what, new step. Click on this new step, and here these are the actions. All these are the actions. So here let me go and select the variables, guys. Just type here variables. When I type here variables, now it will list out all the different types of variables, guys. Now see, these are the different types of variables that are available in the Power Automate. As I said that the first one is what, initialize the variable. Second one is what, set variable. Third one is what, increment variable, decrement the variable, append to a string variable, append to an array variable. So totally how many variables are there means there are totally 6 types is there. We are listing only 4. How many we listed here? Here it is 5. Let me keep here 5. And let me keep here 6. Totally there are 6 types of variables is there. Now, first of all, I need to go and initialize the variables, guys. First of all, I need to declare a variable. In order to go and create a variable or declare a variable, go and use what? Initialize the variable. So let me go and select what? First of all, go and type here variables, and then go and select what? Initialize the variable. So first of all, I want to create one variable, guys. In order to go and create or declare a variable, select the initialize the variable. I need to go and initialize one variable. So here, let me pass the name of that variable, guys. Here you need to pass the 3 parameters. What is the name of that variable, what is the data type, and what is the value you want to assign to that variable. Let us say the variable name is, let me keep here employee number is the variable, guys. Let's say I'm declaring one variable as employee number. Let me keep here var employee number. And what is the data type? If you select here, I said that the variables can hold what type of values: integer, float, boolean, string, array, and finally object. These are the data types. Now if you go and click on the data type here, if you click on this drop down, it will list out all the data types: integer data type, float, string, decimal, array. These are the different types of data types. Here one more is boolean. Now what is the data type I want to select here? Here it is employee number, so I want to go and select what data type, integer. And then what is the value? For now I am not going to assign any value here, guys. These are the mandatory steps. If you see, these are the mandatory steps here. Name is mandatory, variable name, data type is mandatory. This is not mandatory here. For now let me keep it as blank. For now let me keep it as blank. That means in this variable, what is the value I'm going to assign? For now I'm not going to assign value. If you want to assign the value here itself, you can go and assign. I'm assigning the value as what, 101. Or let me keep here assign the value as 0. For now, for this variable I'm going to assign the value as what, this variable is holding for now the value is 0. So this is what, how to initialize the variable, guys. So if you want to rename this, you can go and rename it. So better to go and rename the actions names, guys. Better to go and rename it. So how to rename this one? I want to rename this to variable 1 or var or variable one. Let me rename it. Let me go to the three dots and click on what rename. Let me keep it to var, or let me keep it as variable one, whatever it is, guys. I'm renaming it to variable one. Next, once after declaring the variable, first step is what? You need to go and assign the value. Next, I need to go and assign the value to that variable, guys. First initialize the variable, next go and assign the value. In order to assign the value, I need to go and use another type of variable, set variable, guys. Now see, here I'm declaring one variable. The variable name is var employee number, data type is integer. Now for this variable, currently I'm passing the value as 0, or you can remove it, no need to pass any value. Now once of declaring the variable, if you want to assign the value to this variable, I want to assign the value directly, you can go and assign the value here. This is the default value. If I pass here the value as 101, employee id as 101, whatever the value I'm going to pass here, this is the default value. So if you want to change the value of this variable in future, yes, you can go and change it. How to change it means, how to assign the another value to this variable is, go and click on what, new step. So again here, go and type here variables. Next, go and set here what, set variable. Now what is the use of this set variable is, it is used to assign the value to the variables, case. I declared one variable here. For this variable, I need to go and assign one value. What is the value I need to go and assign here is, to assign the value, go and select what, set variable. So if you select the set variable, it is asking us to pass the name here. What is the variable name? If I click on this drop down, it will displace all the variables. Currently I'm having only one variable. What's that variable? Var employee number. Select the variable. For this variable, what is the value you want to assign? Value you want to assign, let's say I'm going to assign the value as what, 101. I'm going to assign the value as what, 101. Now this is what the syntax, how to declare a variable. Whatever the value you are going to pass here, this is the default value. Once after passing this default value, also if you want to assign another value to that variable, means you can use a set keyword. So by default, I'm going to assign the value to this variable as 0, and then I'm going to, by use the set keyword, with the help of set keyword, I'm going to assign another value to this variable. What's that value I'm assigning? Employee number is what, 101. Now I'm declaring one variable here, and I'm assigning the value here into this variable. Next, I need to go and print that value, case. So let me check whether this variable is holding the VAT value or not. So what value it is holding? In order to go and check that variable value, I'm going to add one new step here, that is compose. I'm going to add one step here, that is what, compose. What is this compose means? Compose is used to display the value, case. Whenever if you want to display some value, go and use the compose. Compose is used for what? To display any value in the Power Automate. So just select compose. Now in the compose, it is asking us to pass the input, guys. Let me pass the input here. What is the input I want to pass it here is var employee number. So whatever the variable I'm declaring here, whatever the value this variable is holding, this value, that value I want to display here. Whatever the value this variable is holding, this, that value I want to display here, guys. Compose is used for what? Means compose is used to display the values. So let me go and set here what, var employee number. Now just go and run the flow, guys. Step 1, initialize the variable. What is the variable name? This is the variable name. What's the default value? 0. Step 2, assign the value to that variable. What's the value I'm assigning? This is the value 101. Next, if you want to check whether this variable is holding the correct value or not, go and use the compose. Compose is used for what? To display the values. So I'm using the compose. In the compose, what I want to display? This variable, whatever the value it is holding, that value I want to display it here. Now just go and run, save the flow first. Save the flow. Save the flow and click on test the flow, case. Let me check whether the flow is ready or not. Yes, the flow is ready to go. Now click on test. Let me check whether that variable is holding what value, case. What is that value the variable is holding? Click on run flow. Click on done. Now see, it is giving that your flow runs successfully. If you see, step 1 is what? I'm initializing the variable. What is the default value? 0. This is the variable name. This is the data type integer. Next, step 2 is what? Assign the value. Now see here, guys, I'm assigning one value to that variable. What is that value? 101. Next, compose is used for what? I said it is used to display the output. What value that variable is holding? Now see, what is that value output? 101. So this is what, how to go and declare a variable. Declare the variable. If you want to assign the value to that variable, go and use the set variable. And if you want to print, if you want to see what values the variable is holding, go and use the compose. Compose is used to display the value, guys. If you go and click on the raw data, now see, compose is holding what value? This is the value. But in the compose, go and click on edit, guys. It is displaying the value as 101. When I go and click on edit, but in the compose, what is that variable I'm declaring here? Employee number. That means this variable is holding the value as what? 101. So like this, you can go and declare a variable. What type of variables, guys? You can go and declare any type of variable. I will discuss all this. Boolean, true or false, not a matter. Float, same values, integer values, but decimals is there. Next, string value, when to go with the string, when to go with object, when to go with array, I will discuss. So currently we are going with what? Integer as a data type. So this is what, how to go and initialize the variable and how to go and assign the value to that variable, guys. And next, my requirement here is, let us say I'm declaring one more variable here. Let me go and add one new step here. I want to add one action. So I want to declare one more variable. So I want to declare one more variable. Let me go and select what? Initialize the variable. If you want to create a variable, go and click on the initialize variable. So just select, pass the variable name. Let me pass the variable name as var ename. Let's say here I am passing what? Employee name, guys. Previously I am declaring the employee number. Or let me keep here. Let me rename it to employee number. Let me rename this one to, not this one, this one only. Let me rename it to ename. So this is the another variable I am declaring here to hold the employee name. Now that variable name is what? Var ename. Data type is what? So employee name is string. Go and select what? String as a data type. And next one, see, value. What's the value? For now, I'm not going to assign any value, guys. Let me keep it as blank. Or otherwise, if you want to assign any value here itself, you can go and assign. Let us say I'm keeping the employee name as what? Sunil is the employee name. Let us say I'm passing the employee name as Sunil. So I'm declaring one variable. Data type is in string. Now I'm going to assign one value to that variable. What's that value I'm going to store in this variable? Sunil. Now what I want to print in the output, guys, compose. In the compose, what I want to show here is, first I want to display the employee number, and next I want to display the employee name. I want to display what? Employee number. This is the employee number variable. Next I need to go and display what? Employee name. So this is, here I'm declaring another variable that is holding the employee name. Now just go and save the flow. Here I'm taking another data type, guys, integer data type. Save the flow. Test it. Let me check what the variables can hold. What values the variables are holding. Run the flow. Click on done. Now see, your flow is running. Now see, your flow runs successfully. Everything you will get tick mark. Green mark is nothing but the flow runs successfully. Red mark is nothing but the flow is stopped. Yellow mark is nothing but the flow is still in run. Now see, if you go to the compose, what's the values it is there, guys? 10, 101. 101 is what? Employee number. Second one, name is what? Sunil. And now this is the way how to go and declare another variable, guys. If you see how many variables I'm declaring here, two variables. One is employee number, second one is what? Employee name. Now try to understand. Next, what is the employee name I'm keeping here? Sunil. So already declared one variable. Now I need to go and append one value, guys. So this is the first name. I want to keep the last name as Kumar. Sunil Kumar. So you can keep here itself. I can assign the value here itself. But there is one variable here. Let me go and add one new action. Let me go to the variables. There is one type of variable called append to a string. There is one variable called append to a string variable. Now what is this append to a string variable? So see, already if there is a variable with data type string, already if there is a variable with data type string, for that variable, whatever the value it is holding, if you want to append another value or another string, this is one string which is stored in this variable directly. I want to append another string for this variable, guys. So this is the first name. Let's say I want to keep the last name, that is Kumar, Sunil Kumar. So here only you can mention it, but here our agenda here is to explain about there is another type of variable called appended to a string. What is the use of this append to a string variable? Means if there is any variable with string data type, if you want to assign or if you want to append means if you want to add any another string to that variable, you can go and use this append to a string, guys. Now see, I'm going to use what variable here? Append to a string. Now Go and select the variable for which variable you want to assign. Var ename. This is the string data type. See here, I'm not able to see this data type employee number. I'm able to see what here, employee name. Why? Because this variable is for what? Append to a string. Whenever if you want to append any value to previous data type string variable, then go and use it. So this, for this variable, what value I need to append? Already there is one name with Sunil, first name. I want to append another string is. What is that string is? Kumar. First value is what? Sunil. Append value is what? Kumar. Now see, go to the compose. In the compose, what I'm keeping here, var ename. Basically by default var ename contains what's the value? Sunil. Next I'm appending one value that to that string Sunil Kumar. So let me go and check what is the output we'll get, guys. So appended to a string means what? If there is any variable with string data type, if that variable is holding some value, you want to append something to that string again, you want to append another string to that, go and use this append to a variable, append to a string variable. Already Sunil is there. I want to add another string, that is Kumar. So let me go and save the flow. Test the flow. Click on run flow. Click on done. Now see, finally go to the compose. When I go to the compose, see here guys, initially what is the variable employee name is holding? Sunil. But now I'm getting in the output is what? Sunil Kumar. Why? Because of this variable append to a string variable. So already there is one variable with name var ename. What is that variable is holding value? Sunil. This is one string. I want to assign another string as. I want to append another string for this. What is another string I want to append? Kumar. So if there is any variable with data type string, if I want to append another string to that variable, then go and use what? Append to a string variable. And next one is I want to declare another variable case. Let us say I'm going to declare another variable here. Add an action. So let me go and select the variables. Let initialize the variable case. I'm going to initialize one variable here. The variable name is salary. So I'm having here employee number, employee name, and I'm using one append to a string variable. How to append a string to a variable? Next, initialize the variable. What's the variable name? Salary. What is the data type? Integer. Now what is the salary I'm keeping here is, let us say 12,000 is the salary case. Now what this variable is? Salary variable. Var sal. Let me keep here var salary. What is the variable the hold is what is the variable the value it is holding? This variable is holding the value as 12,000. So let me go and rename it, guys. Let me go and rename it to salary. Is the variable name as salary. Now see, let me go to the compose now. Let me go to the compose. Now in the compose I'm going to add another value. What is that? Var salary. Now go and save it. Go and save the flow, run the flow. Now just I'm declaring one more variable, that is salary variable. I'm assigning one value. The salary is 12,000. Let me check what the values the variables are holding. Click on done. Now see, first I'm declaring one variable employee number, value is 0. Next I'm going to use the set variable to assign the value to that variable. What not one is the value I'm assigning. Next, once after setting the variable, I am declaring one more variable ename. What's that variable? Sunil. Variable is called the value as Sunil. Next I'm using the append string. Append string, I want to append another string to that previous variable. So Kumar is the append. So finally I'm going to get Sunil Kumar. Now I'm declaring one more variable here, salary. Now what is that variable it is holding? 12,000 is the variable is holding. Now go to the compose. In the compose you can see what is the employee number 101. What is the name? Sunil Kumar. And what is the salary? 12,000. Now try to understand again. This is what not actually my requirement here. So there is one variable here. There is one variable called salary variable. Now what is that variable is holding? 12,000. Now let me add one new action here. If you go to the variables, in the variables there is another action, guys, or not action. In the variables there is another type of variable. What is that? Is increment variable or decrement variable. These two are commonly used in the scenarios case, increment or decrement. Now see, let us say I'm going to use the increment variable. I'm going to use the increment. Increment means I want to increment. I want to improve the salary of that employee. I want to increment it. So it's just go on the increment variable. So what variable you want to increment? Here you are able to see only what variables? Salary and employee number. I'm not able to see the employee name. Why I'm not able to see the employee name here? Anyone? There is one more variable ename. I'm not able to see that ename variable here in the drop down in the increment variable. Why? Yes, online people. I declared three variables: employee number, employee name, salary. In this
Yeah,
That
that
is
increment
is not
variable,
string.
value.
String we can't have increment.
yes, because the
Yeah,
ename is
that
a
is not the
string.
value.
It is not a value. Its data type is string data type. So what data type values or what data type variables you are able to see here is the increment variable can show only the variables where the data type is integer or a float. Integer or a float. So you no need to bother about this. By default, predefinedly Power Automate will come up with predefined features. So what value you want to increment here? I want to increment the salary. So what is the increment value? Previous salary is what? 12,000. I want to increment it to 2,000. What is the increment salary I want to give? I want to improve his salary to 2,000. So 12 plus 2, 4,000. So when I go here in the salary, I'm printing the salary. What is the final salary I will print here? Basic salary is 12,000. Basic salary is 12,000 and then increment is 2,000. So I'm incrementing the value here. So whenever if you want to increment the variable, if there is any integer or a float variable is there, if you want to increment that variable value, go and use the increment variable case. Now when I go and save it, go and run the flow, test the flow, test it manually, click on run. Now the flow will run here. Now if you go and check, finally I'm printing the output is what? Employee number 101, name is Sunil Kumar, and what is the actual salary now? 14,000. How I am getting the 40,000? Because I'm using increment variable. If you go to the increment variable, so I'm incrementing what? Input is incrementing what? 2,000. Finally, what is the output? The variable is holding 14,000. What is the basic salary? What is the value this variable is assigning? 12,000 is the basic default salary. Incremental salary is what? 2,000. 12 plus 2, 14. So finally I am printing what here by using the compose total. What is the actual salary means? 14,000 is the actual salary. Like this, if you want to go and use the increment, you can go and increment. Or otherwise, if you want to decrement it, if you want to decrement, go and add another step, guys. If you can go with increment, or you can remove this step, you can add the decrement also. So let me go and remove it. Go and remove this step. Let me add the go to actions. Let me go and type here variables. Now go and select what? Decrement a variable. Now select the decrement variable. Now which variable you want decrement? Let us say salary. What is the value you want decrement? 1,000 I want decrement. 1,000 I want to decrement. Now finally go and print the actual compose. Compose by using the compose, go and print the value. So let me go and check whether the salary is decrement or not. I'm reducing the salary of the employees or not. Save the flow first and test the flow. Click on run. Click on run flow. Click on done. Your flow runs successfully. Now see, finally what is the output I'm getting? 11,000. Why? Basically what's the salary? The salary variable holding is default value is 12,000. I'm using the decrement after this. What I'm decrementing? Which value I want decrement? This variable value I want decrement by 1,000. So if you decrement by 1,000, 12,000 is the actual value. By 1,000, decrement by 1,000, 11,000. So by using the compose, finally I'm printing what? Actual lot. What is the final salary? 11,000. So like this, if you want to increment or decrement the variable values, if there is any variable with with integer or float data type, then if you want to increment or decrement those values, those variable values, you can go and use the decrement variable, or you can go and use what? Increment a variable. So this is what the different types of variables I'm having here, guys. So there is two more types of variables is there. Still now we discussed about what type of variables. Still now we discussed about initialize the variable, set variable, increment variable, decrement variable, append to a string variable. Next, we need to go and discuss about append to an array variable. So before going discuss append to an array variable, first of all, let me go and add an action, guys. I want to initialize another variable here, but where I need to go? Let me go and initialize one variable. I'm initializing one variable here. So what is this variable is? Let me go and rename this variable as skills. I'm let us say I'm keeping the this one as a skills. I'm renaming it. So what is the data type? Var skill. Var skills. Now data type is what? I'm using the data type as what now? Array. I'm using the data type is what now? Array. Array means multiple values are separated by a comma, guess. Multiple array means string means what? Here the string means string holds only one value. That means let us say employee name Warner or employee name Sunil. Only one value it can hold. Array means multiple strings. Sunil, let us say what is the job trainer. Next, what is the course he is teaching? Power BI. So like this is one string, this is another string, this is another string. So whenever if you want to store group of strings, then go and use the array. So I'm going to select the data type as what? Array. Now what is the value I'm going to assign here, guys? For this array data type. So open within the square brackets, within the square brackets, you need to go and pass those values, guys. So within the square brackets, you need to pass the values here. What values you want to keep in this? So the employee number is there, employee name is there, salary is there. Now I'm going to keep the skills of the employee. So multiple strings I want to give, guys. Whenever if you want to keep the multiple strings, go and use the array. So what is the skills he is having here is, let us say Power BI is the first skill. Keep it in the double quotes, guys. Always try to keep them in the double quotes. Now see, next keep comma. Next skill is he know the SQL server. Comma, and also you know the power apps, you know that how to go and teach the power apps. Let's say these are the three skills the employee is having. This is the skill set. Now just so this is an array. Now go to the compose. In the compose, I want to print another value. What's the value I want to display? Var skill. So whatever the skills the employee is mentioning here, I want to print those skills here. Now just go and save the flow. Just go and save the flow. Your flow is ready to go. Test it. Test it. Let me check what values the array is holding. Let me check what values the array is holding. Click on done. Now see that your flow runs successfully. Now go to the compose. Now see here, guys. In the compose, finally what I'm keeping here. Employee number 101. Name is Sunil Kumar. Salary is 11,000. And the skill set. What skills the employee is having. These are the skills the employee is having. So this is what an array is. So here I'm initializing one variable. Here I'm initializing one variable. That data type is array. Here I'm keeping some skill set. Now see, there is one type of variable here. Let me go and add an action here, guys. Add an action. Now see, there is one other type of variable. So here I am just initializing one variable with the data type array. So there is one type of variable here. What is that variable? Append to a array variable, guys. Append to an array. So there is one array. What is that array I'm having here? There is one variable with data type array. So what is the skills the employee is having? Only three skills I'm mentioning here. Let us say I want to add another skill to this. This is an array. I want to add another value to this array. I want to add another value. That means another skill set to this array. So if you want to add another skill set to the previous array, go and use what? Append to an array variable. So select the append to an array variable. Go and click on what? Now see how many arrays is there? How many variables is there with the data type array? Only one. That is var skill. So go and select it. Now what is the value you want to append there? I want to append the value as, let us say, Power Automate is the value I want to append. So what is the value you want to append? Pass here. Now go and save the flow. Go and save the flow. When I am creating the array, there is only three skills. Once after creating the array, I am adding one extra skill set by using what? Append to an array variable. Go and test it. Run the flow. Click on done. Now if you see, finally go to the compose. There is one more skill set that is added. What is that skill set? It is added Power Automate. If you go and check in the array of skills, I'm having only three here. These are the three skill set the employee know. Now once after creating an array, if you want to add any, if you want to append means add. If you want to add any skill set to that array means go and use what? Append to an array. Which array? This is the array name. What you want to add? Power automate. So just go and pass that value here and you are able to see that. So this is what append to an array, guys. If there is any variable with the data type as array, if you want to add any value to that variable which is having that type as an array, then go and use what? Append to an array variable. So if you see here in this flow, how many variables I'm declaring? I'm declaring how many variables? One, employee number, employee name, salary, skill set. Totally how many variables I'm declaring here? I think 4 variables I'm declaring. To hold what? Different values. Employee number, name, salary, skill set. So what the Microsoft is telling here is, it is not recommended to go and use the multiple values within the flow. Within the flows, it is not recommended to go and use the multiple variables, guys. Microsoft recommended how many variables go and use means 250 variables in a flow. Microsoft recommended to go and use how many flows or how many variables in a flow? Microsoft recommended go and use 250 variables in a flow. So I need to go and reduce the number of variables in a flow case. So I don't want to go with these many variables. Always try to reduce the number of variables in the flows case. Why? Because if you are using the more number of variables in a flow, if there is a flow where it will contains around 50 variables, automatically the readability, the Power Automate need to go and read in every value, every variable, what values it is holding. It will lot of efforts the Power Automate need to spend there. Power Automate need to keep lot of efforts in order to go and run the flow. So if you are declaring 50 variables in a flow, and definitely the flow will take some time to to get the output, to execute the flow successfully. That flow will take some time. So what I'm telling here is, always try to reduce the number of variables you are going to use it in a flow. Let's say there are 50 variables I'm using, you need to reduce it. How to reduce the number of flows? How to go and reduce the sorry, not flows. How to go and reduce the number of variables in a flow? Now see here itself, guys. If you take this flow as an example, in this flow, how many variables I'm declaring here? Employee number is one variable, name is one variable, set is another variable, append to a string is another variable, select salary is another variable, decrement is one variable, so increment is skill set is one variable, append to an array is another variable. So I'm using around 10 variables here. I think 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 variables I'm using here. So it is not recommended to go and use these many variables. So what is the another way where you can go and reduce the number of variables means? So instead of going and declaring these many variables, there is one variable where you can go and keep all these variables value in one place. There is one variable in the Power Automate where you can go and keep the employee number, where you can go and keep the employee name, where we can go and keep the salary, and where we can go and keep the skill set in one place. There is one variable where you can go and store all these values at one place. So what is that variable? So go to the compose. So that variable is go to the variables here. What is that variable is? There is one variable called, or not a variable, there is one data type, case not a variable, there is one data type. What data type you need to go and set here is, first go and initialize the variable. Let me keep all these are employee details, right? Previously skills, employees details, salaries, employees data, employee name is data, employee number is also employee. This is called as employees data. Let us say I'm declaring one variable here. That variable name is emp details. Directly I'm keeping here is what? Emp details. Now I'm going to select the data type. What is the data type I'm going to select now? Here is object. I'm going to select the data type as what? Object. Object is nothing but what? Object is nothing but what? It is like a table. Object is nothing but what? It is like a table. So it is going to objects are going to store the data in the form of JSON format, guys. That means HTML format. We need to go and store some data in the JSON format or HTML format. Now see, go and select the data as what? Object. Now see what is the values I'm going to assign to this. So whenever if you want to go and assign the values to this, open the flower brackets. Within the flower brackets, open the flower brackets and close the flower brackets. Within this, we need to go and pass the values here. So instead of going and declaring multiple variables, what I'm declaring here is, what I'm doing here is, I'm declaring only one variable. The data type of this variable is object. Object. Now here, first I'm going to keep what means employee number. Keep it in the single quotes. Keep this in the single quotes. What is the employee number I want to assign? Employee number is 101. Keep this one also in the single quotes. Keep this one also in the single quotes. Now keep comma. Keep comma. And the next value. What is the next value? E-name within the single quotes. E-name. Sorry, double quotes case. Not single quotes, double quotes. Let me zoom it here. Within the double quotes. Next, what is the value? Let's say I'm passing here the name as Sunil. Next, keep comma. Next one is salary. Keep it in the single quotes. Sorry. Keep it in the double quotes. Colon. Next, salary. Let me keep here 12,000. Keep this one also in the double quotes. This is called as JSON format or HTML JSON format. So next one is what? Skills. Let me keep the skills. Skills is what employees have the three skills: Power BI, SQL, Power Apps. These are three skills he is having. So if the employee is having the multiple skills, so you need to keep it in the array. So how to keep the array? This is the way to go and keep the array. Open the curly, open the square brackets and close the square brackets. Whenever if you want to keep the array, go and use this. Open square brackets and close the square brackets. Now, what is the first value I want to keep here? Let us say the first value I want to keep here is Power BI. What's the skill? The first skill is, this is array guys. Power BI. Next, keep comma. And the next one I want to keep here is what? SQL. And next skill I want to keep here is what? Power Apps. So these are the skills he is having. Now see, what I am doing here is, instead of going and keeping the employee number declaring in one variable, employee name declaring another variable, salary going and declaring another variable, and skills going and declaring the another variable as, so this is an integer data type. This data type is what? Integer. This data type is what? String. This data type is what? String. And this data type is what? Either int or float. Either int or float. You can go and use either integer or a float. Next, this one is what? This one is an array. So all these data types I'm using in one place. What is that data type? Object. Object is nothing but what? Like a table. So just go and save this one. So I'm declaring only one variable here, guys, where I can go and display all those. So what is this? This is like an object, like EMP details. EMP details is the name. Let me change it to var variable EMP. Now at one place I'm having everything. Now instead of going and printing these many variables, just go and print what? Just go and print what? You can go and use the var emp details. This is the var emp details is what? Object. Now go and save the flow. Go and save the flow. Now test it manually. Run it. Click on done. Your flow runs successfully. Now see here. Finally, what I'm printing is directly I'm printing what? Previous output. Previous value is what? Emp details. This is an array. So if you go and check here, so it is in the JSON format. Yes, employee number, name, salary, skill set. What's the skill set? Skill set is an array. So these are the three skill sets he is having. So like this, it is going to print the output. So instead of going and declaring the multiple variables, you can go and declare only one variable, that is object data type variable. And in that object, you can keep all the data types. You can keep the integer, you can go and keep the varchar, you can go and keep the string, You can go and keep the float. You can go and keep what array of values. So you can go and mention everything. Even Boolean data type also can go and display here. Boolean means true or false values. So if you see here in this variable emp details, there are name is there, number is there, salary, skill set is there. But in the output, I'm printing all the compose by using the compose, which is used to display the data. I'm printing directly what previous step complete data is displaying. Now I don't want to display the complete data. I don't want to display the complete data. Now go to the peak code. See, go to this compose or select this one. Go to the expression. It is not displaying anything. Go to this three dots compose, go to the peak code. In the peak code, you are able to see the some JSON format here, guys. HTML format, JSON format. Now see here, just go and copy this. Just go and copy from here to here. I think spelling mistake it is. EMP details. Let me go and change it. Not this one. EMP details. Now what I will do here is, instead of going, if you want to print all the values, go and use this. Or if you don't want to print all the values, let us say from this array or from this object, I want to print only the employee name, guys. I want to print only one employee name in the output. So in this case, go to the peak code, go to the settings, peak code. Here you are able to see the name here. Again, variables. Oh, I think it is showing the previous values itself. So let me do one thing. Go and remove this compose. Let me add the compose again. If you go to the peak code, fine. Now we are able to see here something called input variables. What is that variable? Var emp details. Now select this one. Select this one. Just copy from here. Don't copy the @ Copy from here to here. Click on done. Now just remove it. Click on this. Go to the expressions here. Go to the expressions and pass that copied thing here and use the question mark. So I'm having one variable. This is the variable. From this variable, what I want to get in the output. So within the keep here, within this, let me open the square brackets. Within the square brackets, pass the value. Which value you want to get? Let us say I want to get the ename. I want to get what? Ename. Just click on OK. Just click on what? OK. Pass the ename. Mention the question mark. Pass the ename. Within the square brackets, click on OK. Just telling that. Oh, we need to keep this in the single quotes case. Name also we need to keep it in the single quotes. Keep this in the single quotes. Now click on OK. Now see here, it is going to print what now? From that previous one object variable, it is going to print only what? Ename. So if you want to print everything, go and use it. Go and use directly. Go and use this var emp details. Otherwise, I want to print from this object of values. I want to print only what? I want to get only ename. So go and save the flow. Test the flow. Click on run flow. Done. Now see, when I go to the compose, now in the output, I'm able to print only what? Name. So if along with the name, if you want to print the salary also, just go and copy the same thing. Copy the same thing. Click on and copy it and go to this. Click on enter. Go to the expressions. Copy and paste the same thing here. In place of ename, let me go and select the salary here. Now click on, it is not update. I want to create a new one. Let me keep it as ename itself. Click on update. I think it is added. First one is what? Ename. And second one is what? Let me change it to salary. Click on update. First one is ename, second one is salary. Just 1 second. It is not updated. Now go and print it case. Now save it. Now I'm going to print the two values now. Run dot of automatically. Click on run. Click on done. Your flow runs successfully. Now go to the compose. Now see, I'm able to print the name and salary. If you want to print the skills, if you want, let us say, if you want to go and use the print the skills also. Next, go to this. Go and click on enter button. Just remove it. Paste it. Now let me pass here skill or skills. It is skill. So if you want to print all the values, just go and from the dynamic go and click on it. But if you want to print any value from those object, go and keep it like this. Now go and save the flow. Save the flow and test the flow. Click on run. Click on done. Now see, go to the compose. Now see, I'm able to print the name, I'm able to print the salary and also skill set. So like this, if you want to print all the values within that string directly here, go and select what? Variable name, var emp details. Otherwise, if you want to print only few values from those, so first go to these three dots, go to the peak code. Now see, whatever I am declaring here variables, you can see this code in the peak code. When I go to the peak code, now you are able to see it here, guys. Var emp details. From this, what I'm getting first? Ename. Next, I'm getting what? Salary. Next, I'm getting what? Skills. So this is called a JSON scripting, guys. Whatever the steps you are performing in the Power Automate, for each and every step in the backend, Power Automate will perform or will write one code. What is that code? Is JSON code. It will write. So some code it will write in the backend. So where we can see that code means, go to that step, go to the peak code, go to these three dots, go to the peak code. Here you are able to see every step. If you go to the emp details, go to the peak code. Here also see, here, there I am writing just simple, but here it is writing some code in the backend. So no, don't worry about it. By default it will do it. So this is all about what is this, how to go and create a variables, how to assign it. And also one more thing, see here, one more thing here, what is the salary the variable is holding? 12,000. Now I want to update this value case. I want to update this salary. I want to go and perform the increment. Now increment variable, so it is a variable, separate variable means we can go and directly go and use the increment variable or decrement variable. But here it is an object. In that object there is an item. I want to update that item. So if I want to update that item, so I need to go and increment it. If I want to go and increment, just go to this. There is one property called a set property, guys. Or let me go and add another compose. Instead of going and using the same thing, let me go and use another one more compose action where you can understand in a better way. Compose. Here what I can do here is go to the expressions. Here there is one option, one keyword called set property. Go to the set property. Set property is used to update the data, guys. Set property. So here also open the brackets. It is asking us to pass the object. What is that object? Variables. So just go back to the previous code, go to this, copy the same thing from here to here. From here to here, just copy it. And go to this. Go and use the set. It's not getting, just remove it. Add one new step. Compose. Go to the expressions, use the set property and then paste it what is the whatever the variable you want to go and use it, go and print that, copy and paste that variable here, and then uh, let me keep comma. Next it is asking us to pass the property case, which property you want to update. So I need to go and update the salary. Next, keep comma. It is asking us to pass the value. What is that value? Let's say I want to update the salary to 14,000. I want to update the salary to 14,000. So this set property is going to have some functionality. First here we need to pass what, which variable values you want to update, and next you need to go and pass it here is what is the value you want to set. I want to set the salary value. What is that value you want to set? 14,000. Just go and click on OK. Now save the flow, test the flow. Let me check whether it is updated or not. The value, there is one there is one object. In that object there is one property, salary. So I want to update that salary. 12,000 is the basic actual salary. I want to update it to 14. Now see, the salary is updated to 14. But in this here also the salary is updated to 14. But what is the actual salary? The actual salary is 12,000. So like this, if you want to perform the update operations, yes, you can go and update the data. So this is the set keyword. Set property is the keyword which is used to update the values, or if you want to change the values. So there is one string here, right, for us. There is one object here. So this is the object. In this object, if you want to update anything, employee number, name, salary, or this skill set. So if you can go and use what, set property. With the help of set property code, you can go and update the data in the variables. So this is all about what is meant by variables. What are the different types of variables is there? Keep in mind, it is not recommended to go and use the multiple variables whenever if you are running the flow. So always try to go and use less number of variables. How to reduce the variables means, instead of going and declaring these many variables, set variable, employee number, employee name, salary, decrement, increment, instead of going and using these multiple variables, you can go and use only one variable. That variable data type is what, object. In the object you are able to store what values? Integer values, string values, float values, integer values, array values, everything you can store it. If you want to update them, you can go and update it. So no need to go and use the set property by using some simple set. No need to go and use the set variable. Instead of going and using the set variable, you need to go and use what, set property. By using set property, you can assign the values to the variables. You can update them. So this is all about what is meant by variables, how to go and use this variables. Fine. Let me stop here today.